Wow, you made it to your 30s, and you may be asking yourself, what's next? Well, listen up. I'm the failed author, and together we're going to talk about it. If you have not subscribed, consider subscribing. I'm posting classic Battlefield, classic Call of Duties, different, sort of gun videos, bowling videos, anything that interests me at that time is my usual spiel, but please follow along. And I'm actually shifting the channel, and I've been wanting to do this forever. I've always wanted to either talk about like politics, which I'm not going to get quite into politics. I just feel like the current climate is a little too much for me and my liking to really get into. But as somebody who enjoys talking about life, and maybe even I dabble a little bit in philosophy and the human experience, I not that I feel like I have a ton to offer. I do have 3 degrees, 2 in social sciences, 1 in education, my MA, and I just want to I want to talk about it. I want to find other people who want to talk about it. And I couldn't help but thinking, I turned 31, and when you get to your 30s, it's quite a different experience. And maybe other people who are at that age or getting near that age, want to hear from somebody's life experience and move forward, and together we can kind of navigate this journey. Because at the end of the day, despite what you may believe politically, your religion, your life experiences, from where you were born, the color of your skin, it doesn't matter, because we are human beings, and together we have to lift each other up, because we're all in this life, this sort of situation as one. And if we're not the ones lifting each other up, then I'm telling you right now, no one else will. So what is it like being 30? Being 30 and 31, it really, like on paper, you're like, well, that's not that different. Like maybe I'm a little more sore than I used to be. And, maybe I thought I'd be in a different position, because that's really where I want to start. Is I want to tell you, wherever you're at in your life, it doesn't matter right now, because you can change, you can turn it around, and you can make your life become what you want it to be. And just a little bit of background: when I turned 26, I had to make some important life decisions and some changes. I was a returning student to college. I did not enjoy my high school experience. I did not go to college right after high school. Hell, I couldn't even get into a college if I tried. My grades were so low. I just wasn't a good student at that point, and I knew that, so I never even ventured there. I ultimately did decide to go, and I crushed it. I crushed it at the community college level. I was awarded grants to go to a public university, which I loved, and that's where, I'll go through what it was in my 20s and now in my 30s, and kind of let's talk about it, right? And I'm a returning student. Me and my future wife, we're living on our own. We have our own place, and things are going relatively well, right? And I'm in my mid-20s. I'm thinking I'm doing great. I've got money saved, got all my bills paid, paying my car off. It's going great. And then we have to make a tough decision, because we want to buy a house, like everybody wants to buy a house. And we go, okay, let's move back in. We have family members that let us do that. I said, hey, 6 months, don't worry, we'll be in and out 6 months. We got money saved. In that 6 months, I totally shifted. In 2018, I had to shift my academic goals because of some life circumstances, having to help certain family members out and whatnot. I really had to cut back from going to school. I was working full time. I was commuting 3 hours a day going to school, and it was killing me, and I just couldn't dedicate the time. I was being pulled in too many different directions. Remind me if this sounds just so familiar. I'm sure it does to everyone who's tried to do these kinds of things. When you're an adult, you don't get the luxury of just having it simple, right? It never seems like it's simple. And so by the time I had to move back in, I was down to, it was one course. Like, it was just, not where I wanted it to be. And even then I was like, okay, it is what it is. But it's crazy how life, takes you on a journey you never think you're going to go. So here I am taking my one course. I actually got a job. I applied. Mind you, my goal in my education, I got a sociology degree, was to be a probation officer. Now, I'd moved back in, I had money saved, but I wanted to buy a house, so I applied for a job that I didn't particularly want, that I knew I could do, that I knew I'd be good at, and I became a police officer. I was hired as a police officer, and I was ecstatic. I was over the moon, and I found out very quickly that that just wasn't my career path. It just wasn't. It's not who I am. I'm a little too I don't like saying, oh, I'm too nice, but ultimately it just wasn't. It wasn't for me. A different reason. I'm not going to bore you with the deets, but just know that I didn't go that route. And mind you, this is March 2020 when I quit law enforcement. Hey, what happened in March 2020? Oh yeah, everybody's life changed. My life changed. Your life changed. We all changed because of COVID, and I quit my nice, stable government job. Right? And, I had to regroup and I had to refocus. And the first thing I could just was like, hey, I was already going to school. Let's just finish up my undergrad. So boom, I do it. I'm 27. It's crazy when you're living in a place and you don't have to commute. No one had to commute anymore. I was taking online courses, which I switched from psych to sociology because the sociology, all the courses were offered online, which, and then everything was offered online, which added some credits. You got to love that, and I did it, in 4.0 the rest of the way because I had all this extra time and I didn't have to commute. And it was fantastic. And I was working, okay jobs, just to get by, but no career jobs. But I was like, well, what am I going to do now that maybe law enforcement isn't for me? And, I found myself wanting to be in education, and that's currently what I have been pursuing. It took me a few years to get started and kind of just jump in, and that's where I'm at, and I'm trying to pursue a career in education. And though I've had interviews, I have not landed that teaching position, and I'll get there. You'll get there too, is what I'm getting at, is listen to me. Your life will take you everywhere but where you thought you were going to go. And I know that's true because I'm sitting here telling you, never in a million years did I think I'd have to go back to school after grinding it out like everyone does when you're going to college, because I knew it was not going to be enough. I knew I needed more. I needed more on that resume. Damned if I have a student loan. It's not that bad. I think people get a little twisted with the student loan thing. I think it's funny how you'll get there's this real division, and we'll talk about that in a different video, between blue collar work and, people who go to, higher education and get their degree. We are two sides of the same coin, and I can't stand when people divide themselves like that. You can't be upset at somebody wanting to better themselves, whether that is going to a trade. And remember, it is trade school. Okay, they make you go through a little program. I know that because I was a trade apprentice and a laborer for just a smidgen of my life, so I get it. It may not be writing an essay, but you are learning. You are in school. It is. They expect you to show up on time, just like they expect you to show up in class. Do not. We are together. We are only strong if we are united. We have to advocate and fight for ourselves. If we do not, then we'll be left in the dust. You in your 20s, if you're listening to this, if you're 18, if you're 17, if you're 16. It is okay. It is okay to not have a plan. It is okay to be figuring it out, because we all are figuring it out. You never stop. Even in your 20s, even in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s. You will continue to grow and evolve and change. And if you are not doing that, then maybe you have to ask yourself what's going on. Because even if you land that position or you're happy where you are, you are evolving as a person. You're starting a family. You're making important decisions for your future, your family's future. Those are all things you can't just play and do idly. Right? You have to be invested. You have to be involved. You have to be changing. It doesn't mean you change your personality. It doesn't mean you change who you are. It just means you change maybe your focus at that time. Maybe you've been, and trust me, I was that, I got to save for retirement. I got to put every dollar away because how am I going to do it? And now those goals have shifted because I've had to do different things. I've had to, experience different things, use my money that I had saved for different means. And that's okay. Right? That's what I'm trying to get to you. Younger people, younger than me, maybe people older than me that need to just hear something positive. It's okay. You're going to be okay. I do think your step one has to be taking a deep breath you got to figure out what you're looking for. You got to figure out a plan. Is your plan to go to school? Is your plan to just get a better job? Is your plan to say, forget it, I don't want this stressful job anymore. I want a job where I can just go in, do my job, leave, turn my brain off, and enjoy it. Because that's one thing I think people forget too. There's nothing wrong with making a living. It doesn't particularly matter what your position is. If waiting tables and being a server gets you by, if it makes you happy enough because you have enough money to live, then so be it. You need to do that if that's what's best for you. Now, if you're trying to climb a corporate ladder and that's your goal, you need to figure out what the means, if it's education, if it's taking different courses, if it's just being at that business for 10 years. You have to find those things. You got to figure out what works for you. So my advice to you if you're younger is calm down, take a deep breath. Things are going to be okay. You just got to figure out what's working best for you. And the problem is that's not an easy thing to suggest to someone. It's not easy to say, okay, do this, that, the other, and you will find it. It is a means to get you to think and reflect about yourself, right? Now, I often think about, and mind you, like, I love philosophy, right? I do. I never talk about it on this channel because I've never really opened up like this on this channel. One thing I love about philosophy is everybody's heard this, and we're just gonna get the very, simple version of this. There's this old proverb, right, where it's you step in a river, you step in a stream, you can't step in there twice. And I think that's such a profound statement where I think it gets almost taken like it's laughed at, right? It's like, haha, right? I want you to think about the statement when it comes to your journey, okay? What is the stream, right? Let's just say it's life, right? If you make that step, whatever that step may be, new job, education, right? That stream's moving. You take your foot out and you go back in, even if it's the same step. Maybe it's getting more education. Maybe it's getting a new job. It's not the same step because the water, the stream, life itself is moving. You can't ever make the same step again twice, right? Now you can make a similar one, of course, right? And that's the way I kind of look at, thinking about life sometimes. I know it's really whack, it's really lame. I understand, right? It's just the way that I kind of try to quantify things a little bit for me, and you'll do that for yourself. We all do that in different ways. So, what are you going to do? That is a good question. I'm still figuring it out, right? And I here's what I have now is I have the confidence in myself. And I changed my attitude to know that I am going to get to where I need to get by any means. And I will get there. I will have my, career in education, and I will do that, and I will be successful because I know now that is a much better career path for me. I know that I can do it. I know that I will be successful, and I've had people tell me that I'm not the worst that's ever, laced the shoes up. So there's those things. What it takes is you finding where you want to get. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's like cliche to be like, oh, surround yourself with, good people, right? And that doesn't mean like, going out and just seeking, all these new things, right? To me, it more or less is you got to find the people that are already in your life that, bring you that joy, that want to see you succeed. And it's not like you don't have to hang out with people all the time, guys. It's okay to figure out your life and be there and have people be there when you absolutely need them. But it's okay to figure it out in silence, okay? There's nothing wrong with being alone and thinking about yourself, your position, your life. Because your friends, if they're really your friends, they're going to be there and they're going to support you. That's just the way it is, right? Now, as far as what I would have changed. I'm telling you right now, it's not even worth going back and playing that game. Don't be the armchair quarterback. Do not live in the what ifs, because you will eat yourself up. There's all those memes that are like, well, what the hell was I doing in the third grade? I should have been buying real estate and Bitcoin, Of course, we can all play that. Our parents could do that. Their parents could do that. We're not going to do that to ourselves because we're moving forward. We're becoming the best versions of ourselves, and that involves not just constantly living in the past and beating ourselves up over really nothing, because it's out of our control, right? We live ourselves day to day. We all work hard. We all struggle. We all have our ups. We all have our downs. But one thing I won't do is beat myself up for something, because I don't find it necessary anymore. I think everyone's hardest critic and their worst critic is themselves. And we have to be the people, and I'm talking about yourself. You got to support yourself. You got to know if you're jumping into something that you're making the right decision. You got to feel that confidence in yourself. And, that's not always the easiest thing, because it's really easy to get down on yourself. I do it all the time. I've done it plenty of times, going back to school, like, why the hell am I getting a master's degree? Like, what am I doing? This is tough. This is hard. This isn't easy. I'm spending so much time. I'm spending all this money. I've had to, make sacrifices. I haven't been to things that I want to be for people. I haven't been able to go out and do these things that I think were fun that I can't do. But, we do those things, and I did those things because at the end of the day, I know that this potentially is going to be what's best for me and my family. And at the end of the day, like, if that's it, then that's not the worst thing ever, right? Like, you have these people, and think about how many people are in the world and how many people you surround yourself. And if you're lucky enough to have a handful of people that support, love, and care for you, then you're better off than just about anyone you could think about. Because being loved, there's no other feeling like that on earth. Having that person for you, and trust me, we'll get into videos about relationships, money, education, and we'll talk more about all these things all over Battlefield 3 and Call of Duty. But this was kind of just my first intro. Just know, and I've said it earlier in this video, you're going to be okay. If you're 20 right now and you're scared, you're a little confused, you're wondering what's next, you're going to be okay. And I know, I will tell you, I've been one of the most fortunate people in my life, because I've had, like I said, people who love, care, support for me, and I know that, and I recognize that, and I sure hope I do a good job of letting them know how much I appreciate them and them doing so. So I'm the Failed Author. If you like what you heard, go ahead, follow along, and leave a like, leave a comment if there's anything you're wanting to talk about. If there's something that could help you, again, I have a couple degrees. I have some life experience. Of course, I've worked in, law enforcement, education, I've been around a little bit. 7 years in food service, when I was a young man. And, so, I've been there. I get it. I definitely will make a video about working in the food service and why those people and the people who continue to do that today are just so underappreciated, because we just, when you work food service, man, you get treated a different way. You get treated a different way at work. And when you talk to and with people outside of work, they treat you a different way, and maybe not everyone does, of course, but some people do, and that is something that you'll have to deal with. So again, we only have a little bit of time left in this video, so I'm gonna sign out. If you like what you saw, ACR, not too bad. ACWR, not too bad in Battlefield 3, by the way. RIP Battlefield 3. I know November 7th was here, but I'm the Failed Author. Again, comment, let me know, like the video if there's something you're dying to see. But if you're a younger adult, just remember that really it is up to you ultimately, right? But you will be okay. You will figure it out. And like everybody gets to figure it out. That's like one of those things in life, you either figure it out or you don't, right? And there's a sniper shot at the end. This cowboy guy was like glitching around, like knifing people and stuff. So he glitched his way up to the the roof. And I know you don't have to glitch there, but he was tweaking a little bit. But don't worry, I clap him right here, and it was really awesome. Like right at the end of the game, So we had no time left. Bam, headshot. Let's go. So thanks again. If this was just ranty and I sounded like a jabroni, let me know. I appreciate it. And this is the Failed Author signing out.